The water is 48 degrees. It's 3 a.m. You can't feel your hands. A wave crashes over your face. You swallow salt water. You can't move, can't speak. The instructor is inches from your ear, screaming, but your brain stopped processing sound 20 minutes ago. Your body is already in shutdown mode, and you haven't even started yet. This is day one of a process that will either rebuild you into the most dangerous human being alive or break you completely. Most break. And here's what no one tells you. Breaking is the point. The system. Forget everything you think you know about special forces. It is not one thing. It is not one unit. It is a descending staircase, and every level down becomes darker, more classified, more psychologically extreme than anything above it. What you're about to see isn't a list. It's a map into the most dangerous corners of modern warfare, corners that governments deny exist, that history books quietly skip, and that most soldiers will never get close to. By the time we reach the bottom, you'll understand why. Level 1. Navy SEALs. 5 days, no sleep, not a single hour. Running on sand carrying logs the size of tree trunks. Push-ups in freezing mud at midnight. Open ocean swims in pitch darkness. Simulated combat while your nervous system is already failing. This is Hell Week, and it is not designed to test your body. Your body is irrelevant here. Hell Week exists to find the exact moment your mind surrenders, to locate that threshold, and then push you past it repeatedly until either you quit or something inside you permanently changes. 75% of candidates quit. Most don't make it past 48 hours. The ones who survive go on to master submarine infiltration, helicopter insertion into active combat zones, and surgical strikes so precise they leave no trace, no evidence, no witnesses, nothing. In 2011, they flew into Pakistan on stealth helicopters so quiet, the neighborhood dogs didn't bark. They killed Osama bin Laden. They were wheels up before the Pakistani military even knew they'd been there. Famous, lethal, terrifying. But here's the problem with the SEALs. Everyone knows their name. And in this world, the moment people know your name, you've already lost your most dangerous weapon. The unit below them operates on a completely different principle. They don't hide, they obliterate. Level 2. The Rangers. The cargo door opens at 30,000 feet. Wind, darkness, a burning city below. Jump. The 75th Ranger Regiment is not interested in secrecy. Secrecy is for people who need time. Rangers don't need time. They need 60 seconds and a clear line of sight. While SEALs move like surgeons, Rangers move like a sledgehammer. Airports seized, compounds destroyed, fortified positions collapsed, all before dawn, all before the enemy has finished processing the sound of the aircraft overhead. Ranger School. 61 days in the swamps of Georgia, near zero sleep, starvation rations. You are expected to lead men through complex tactical operations while your own organs are beginning to shut down from exhaustion. They were in Grenada. They jumped into Panama. And in Mogadishu, 1993, surrounded, outgunned, outnumbered 10-1, they held their ground for 15 brutal hours. You know that story as Black Hawk Down. They lived it as a Tuesday. Since September 11th, no special operations unit on Earth has deployed more frequently. Every single mission is a coin flip with their life. And yet, within the special operations world, Rangers are considered the beginning, the entry point, the door. What's behind that door requires something Rangers are never asked for: a second language, a fake identity, and the ability to start a civil war without anyone tracing it back to you. Level 3 Green Berets. No helicopters, no breach, no explosions. You were never here. The Green Berets were built in 1952 for a mission so unusual it barely sounds military: infiltrate foreign countries, earn the trust of the local population, and teach them how to fight their own government. Not America's war, their war. Funded, trained, and quietly directed by 12 men who speak the language, wear local clothes, and have been living inside the community for months. Each 12-man operational detachment alpha is trained in weapons, medicine, demolition, and communications. But the real qualification, the one that can't be trained in a gym, is psychological. You must stay completely calm while making decisions that could destabilize entire nations. They've operated in Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and in places where congressional authorization never existed because the operation wasn't supposed to exist either. Their motto? De oppresso liber, free the oppressed. It sounds noble, until you understand that liberation sometimes arrives in the form of a covert airstrike, planned 2 years in advance by a man who introduced himself as a local farmer. When it ends, they shave the beard, grab the fake passport, and disappear before the smoke clears. No record, no credit, no name, but even the Green Berets operate within a structure you can partially see. The next unit was designed for the places structure can't reach, and their selection process has no rule book. Level 4. Marine Raiders. You cannot apply. You cannot volunteer off the street. You must already be considered elite and then be told that isn't enough. 3 weeks of selection with no fixed schedule, no explanation of what comes next, and no indication of whether you're passing or failing. Psychological and physical tests in hostile environments designed specifically to break people who thought they were unbreakable. No one applauds you here. No one acknowledges what you endure. Endurance is the minimum, not the achievement. The Marine Raiders operate in 14-man teams across the Philippines, Africa, the Middle East, consistently deployed to the exact regions where conventional forces already failed and left. Inside the Marine Corps itself, operators quietly avoid raiders in joint training exercises. Not out of respect, out of what the statistics show happens to the other side. But the raiders still operate in the physical world, on the ground with weapons, in environments you can map. What comes next operates in 3 places simultaneously: on the ground, in the air, and inside the enemy's decision-making. Level 5. Air Force Special Tactics. You're pinned down. 12 enemies closing from the north, 2 men bleeding out behind you, and somewhere above the clouds a jet with enough firepower to end this, waiting for your coordinates. You have to fight, treat the wounded, and simultaneously talk a pilot onto a target measured in meters while taking fire. That is a single Air Force Special Tactics operator. 1 person, 3 jobs, 0 margin. Their pipeline is one of the longest in the entire U.S. military. Over 2 years of continuous selection and training before you are cleared for a single real mission. They are the invisible nervous system connecting ground teams to air power. Without them, the SEALs can't call strikes. Delta goes in blind. The entire operation fractures. Most people have never heard their name. That's exactly how they want it. But everything above this level, the SEALs, the Rangers, the Raiders, Special Tactics, they all operate under orders you can eventually trace. What's below them? The orders don't exist. Level 6. Delta Force. Do not call it Delta Force. The name changes constantly. Officially, it's the Combat Applications Group. Unofficially, even that's already outdated. Their base is inside Fort Liberty, North Carolina, in a facility so classified that Google Earth has manually blurred it from satellite view. Think about that. A building so sensitive that the world's most powerful mapping technology was asked and agreed to look away. Teams of 4 to 6 operators, no insignia, no interviews, no social media presence, no memoirs, no press, no acknowledgement. They were in Mogadishu when it fell apart. They hunted war criminals through the Balkans in the dark. They operated as the tip of the spear in Afghanistan and Iraq for over 20 years. Their selection: days of mountain navigation with no rest, no explanation, and no feedback. Psychological testing at the edge of collapse. Simulated missions where everything fails on purpose because what's being measured isn't performance. It's how you think when you have nothing left. Most candidates never finish, and some of those who do come back carrying something that doesn't show on any medical scan. But Delta still answers to a chain of command, still deploys under military authority. What comes after them answers to almost no one. Level 7, the ISA. He lands at the airport alone. Journalist, businessman, aid worker. His passport is flawless. His cover story has 3 years of manufactured history behind it. He will live inside this identity, inside this country, inside the enemy's daily life, for months before anyone else arrives. The intelligence support activity was born in 1981 from a single catastrophic failure. Special forces executing a perfect mission against completely wrong intelligence. Operators died because of information that didn't exist. ISA exists, so that never happens again. Teams of 2 to 4 move months ahead of any military deployment. They intercept communications. They map movement patterns. They locate the target with surgical precision so that when Delta arrives, they aren't hunting, they're collecting. There are unconfirmed accounts of ISA operators faking severe mental illness to infiltrate psychiatric institutions where intelligence assets were being held. Others spent months as personal drivers for militant commanders, recording daily routes through hidden cameras sewn into jacket linings. Their base is inside Fort Belvoir, Virginia, physically hidden inside other official military buildings. A ghost unit housed inside buildings that officially have nothing to do with it. Most of what they've done will remain classified longer than anyone reading this will be alive. And then there are the men who fly them in. Level 8, the Night Stalkers. You won't hear them coming. By the time you do, it's already over. The 161st SOAR, the Night Stalkers, exist because in 1980, helicopters crashed in an Iranian desert, and 8 Americans died during a rescue mission that never reached its target. The U.S. military made a decision that day: never again. They fly modified aircraft equipped with systems that are not publicly documented, possibly never will be. Night vision that makes darkness irrelevant. Terrain-following technology that lets them fly at near ground level through mountain passes, at speed, in zero visibility. They flew the stealth helicopters to Abbottabad, silent enough that a neighborhood full of people heard nothing. They inserted Delta into Mogadishu. They have extracted entire teams under direct enemy fire, threading between burning buildings, without lights, with centimeters of clearance on each side. They do not fight the war, they make the war physically possible. And everything above this level, every unit, every operator, every mission, all of it depends on intelligence gathered before a single boot hits the ground. Intelligence that comes from a place that doesn't appear on any military org chart. Final level, the CIA Special Activities Center. The war was already won before the first soldier crossed the border. You just didn't know it yet. While the towers were still burning on September 11th, a small group of men were boarding unmarked aircraft with briefcases full of cash, encrypted communication devices, and orders that, if anything went wrong, would be permanently erased. They landed in Afghanistan before the military did. Not with weapons, with money, satellite uplinks, and a quiet directive. Fracture the regime from the inside. By the time the first airstrikes hit, the board had already been arranged, the alliances already built, the loyalties already purchased. The CIA's Special Activities Center recruits directly from Delta, from the SEALs, from every upper level on this list. But here, rank disappears, uniform disappears, nationality, barring officially, disappears. They don't need to occupy a city if they can make its own people turn against it. They don't need to invade a country if they can make it destabilize itself. And if the mission fails and there is no mission, there is no team, there is no record, plausible deniability, the most powerful weapon in the arsenal. No press conference, no homecoming, no classified memorial. If it worked, it never happened. If it didn't, it really never happened. The truth. Every war you've ever read about, every regime that fell, every conflict that ended sooner than expected or started without explanation, somewhere in that story, in a paragraph that doesn't exist in any public record, is a small group of people who were already there, months before the headlines, years before the history books. The world you think you understand, the one with borders and governments and official decisions, is the surface. Underneath it, the real war never stopped. It just moved somewhere you're not allowed to look.